Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am so excited to have Abbey Bird on today. And Abby is a client of mine. She's been with me for we've worked on and off for like 5 or 6 years now. Does that sound about right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I would say, yep, 5 years, at least five, six. Yeah, going on six.
Yeah. I'm like,
That's crazy.
it is so crazy. And we have over the years become really good friends as well. So I like to say Abby, my friend, and
Yeah.
then I do. So it's weird to to be coaching you, Abby, but it's good. We have such a good working relationship, but we also have such a good friendship, and I love that we
Yes.
can go between the two. So
Yeah, I agree.
so I would love for you to start by sharing a little bit of who you are, your family, the things that you do outside of being a competitor, and then we'll go into a little bit of your history with competing and stuff.
Okay. Perfect. So to
Anyway,
start, yeah. Okay. So to start, I'll start at the very basics. I'm a mother of five, so I have five kids, um, and a wife. Obviously, I'm a wife to my amazing husband. We've been married for 17 years. Yeah. So 18, going on 18 years. So we've built a little life here, and we're from a very small town in Utah. So we do a lot of like outdoors things. We're very like what some people would probably call rednecks. We hunt and fish and hike and do all the outdoors things. And um, we recently just started up a wild game processing business, so a meat shop essentially. And we're really passionate about the things that we put in our body and being in the outdoors and all the things. And so this is kind of something that brought all of that together for us. And we love to serve the people of our community with the wild game processing. And that's been something my husband has done for like 22 years. He started clear back in high school. And so he's kind of in his element. He's thriving in that business right now. And so my kids are ages, my oldest is 17. She's about to graduate. She's a senior. And then my son is a sophomore. And then we adopted my niece. She's 2 weeks younger or older than my son. So we have her as well. So they're both sophomores. And then I have a daughter that's in eighth or seventh grade, and then a daughter that's in fifth grade. So we've kind of got the broad range. We're living our busiest life right now, chasing all five kids. They play
all
like
the
Remy
sports.
plays,
Yeah.
yes, all the sports. Remy plays soccer and does track. Ruger's a little cowboy. He's like working on the ranch and doing schoolwork when he does online school. So, and he's thriving doing that. And then my next daughter wrestles and plays softball. And my younger two play softball, volleyball, and whatever else they can get their hands on. So it's just a really busy life. We're chasing them all the time. And so um, back when my oldest daughter was like 8, she got into softball. And so I actually started coaching her. And through that whole journey, I got into the club softball world, so competitive softball. And when she was about 10, 11, we started doing competitive softball, traveling all over the state, playing softball. And I actually started my own club. So I run a club softball organization. This year we'll run about,
So
well, we've had some new developments in the club. And so this year we're going to run about 95 girls through the club. So um, it's like I said, we're from a small town, but the surrounding area. So there's like lots of small towns that surround. And so we call it the Uinta Basin here in Utah. And so we have like all the surrounding towns of the Uinta Basin that kind of come together and play sports and stuff like that. So we've got like a big community out here. Club softball's big. And we travel all over doing that. And that's a year-round thing for me. I'm president of the club, so I kind of mentor all the coaches and do all the things behind the scenes. And so I live a very busy life doing that. And then I'm coaching junior high basketball this year. And so it just kind of, I have all these hobbies and all these things that I like to do. And yeah, so that's kind of a little bit about me and my kids and my husband and yeah.
that's
So
such a full life that you have. And I think that a lot of people when they're looking to do something like preparing for a bodybuilding competition or even just getting into the aesthetic goals from like training with, the goals of hypertrophy and getting into some good habits, not necessarily because they want to get on the stage, but just because they want to feel good overall, like on a daily basis. A lot of people feel like, oh, there's just so much on my plate. How do I even have any time to do anything for me? And like you are living proof that you can be the president of a club softball team. You can have 5 kids who are all fully involved in sports. You can have this meat shop that you do. You even are a trainer as well. Like you're a trainer
Yes.
and a coach for
Yes.
women too.
Yep.
Yeah, and you find you make it work. If it's important to
Yeah.
you, you make it work, right?
Yes. Yes. And lucky for me, I feel like I've had so much support along the way, and you can't do it without, a village of people kind of behind you that support you and are cheering you on. And I feel so blessed that I have, and my husband wasn't always super supportive of like bodybuilding and the prep life and like all those things. Um, but when he realized how important it was to me and how fulfilled it made me as just a person in general, he realized that it needed to be a priority for me. And then he became like 90 days different and supportive. So it definitely takes a village to have all the support and the help. And my kids, I do feel like my kids are older now, but they weren't. When I started, it was 6 years ago, and they were little, and it has been chaotic, and it has been messy at times, and it has been hard. Like it's not without its own sets of hard, but it is possible, 100% possible. And I would say that I'm thriving like in it. And I'm living my best life. I don't think that I would be as fulfilled in any aspect of my life right now if it weren't for the other aspects, if that makes sense in a weird way. Like, because I am physically where I want to be, and doing the things and chasing those goals and doing the things that I want to do, it makes me a more confident and able person in other aspects of my life. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
it has a
it's,
good carryover into other areas. Yeah,
yeah,
I think that's so cool. And
yeah,
and so with your fitness journey, people like either hate that phrase or they like, well, I guess mostly everybody hates that phrase when they hear that. They're like, oh,
yes,
cringe.
fitness journey, but it really is
Yeah,
like it's,
yeah,
yeah.
right. So with your fitness journey, what got you started or like motivated into wanting to do a competition? And when did that start? It wasn't like 3 weeks ago, right? Or
Yeah.
2 months ago.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I've always been an athlete. Like I've always played at least three sports. Like I did volleyball, basketball, and softball all through high school. And then I got a college scholarship to play basketball. And um, before I even knew what had happened, I was back home, married and pregnant with my first kid. And so it all kind of just like, I wouldn't say like just disappeared, but my athletic career kind of just ended abruptly when I realized that like ultimately I want to be a mom and I want to have kids, and I want to do that now. So I came home, got married, started having kids, had all 5 of my kids. When I got pregnant with Coco, who's my youngest, I realized then that I was like, okay, she's my last. And I kind of let myself be a mom for a minute and have my babies and get, all of my kids here and taken care of. And then I was like, when I knew when Coco was about 1 year old, I was like, I need a physical outlet. Like I need something, like I feel not really a void, but I didn't feel my best. And I did kind of stay active through my pregnancies, but I knew that I would feel better if I was pushing myself, like physically challenging myself. And so I kind of started doing like HIIT workouts at home. I would look on Pinterest and I'd look up 20-minute HIIT workouts, because that's what I could, time wise, that's what I could afford. So I would wake up at 6 every morning and I would do a 20-minute HIIT workout in my basement while my kids were still asleep. And then I'd wake my kids up and get them ready for school and send them off to school. And I just felt so much better when I was doing that. I just felt really good. And I learned later that what I was doing was not actually HIIT. Side note, I actually realized and learned that that was just metabolic training is what I was doing. I was not doing true hit. So just a side note to that. Anyway, um, so I kind of, about that time is when Instagram started getting like active, big, whatever you want to call it. And so I got an Instagram and I started following a couple people. There was a girl on there. Her name's Ashley, not Ashley Kaltwasser. Um, I can't remember her last name now. Anyway, she was actually competing in figure and she was posting her competition pictures, her stage pictures, and like her prep. And I remember following her and I just remember thinking her legs are my goal. Like I want legs like that. And so I started looking into like bikini competitions and like, what is this? And who are these people? And, you know, started kind of researching it. So the more people I followed and the more research I did, I was like, okay, I want to do this. Um, this sounds like something I could get on board with. Like I've always been an athlete. I feel like this would challenge me, push me to like look my best. And these chicks are like, they're ripped, you know, and I'm like, I love this. I want to look like that. So, um, of course, I didn't have any idea how hard that was going to be, essentially to like step on stage and actually compete, you know. But I'm a very competitive person. So I was like, yeah, I want to do it. I had a friend, Courtney Fuller, that was doing competitions at the time too. And I reached out to her
Yeah,
and I
Court.
said, go, Courtney. I love Courtney so much. Oh my gosh. And she has just been there from day one and been so supportive and cheered me on. And I adore her. So I reached out to Courtney and I was like, Court, because we're from the same like area community. So I played basketball against her. I knew she was kind of athletic. I'm like, I like Courtney. So I reached out to her. I said, Court, how? What is all this? How do I get started? Who do I contact? So she actually sent me to her coach. I got in contact with him and I started a prep and I just jumped all in. And yeah, that's kind of how I got started. And then from there, it kind of just evolved. Like I just grew in the sport. I learned more as I went. Um, if you want, I can go into more details of like how that first prep went, you know, all those things. But that's essentially like how I got started in bodybuilding. So
Yeah, I think that would be really interesting for people that are listening because everybody's journey to the stage is a little bit different. And oftentimes people think like, oh, I'm just going to hire a coach and 12, 20 weeks later, I'm going to be on the stage. But a lot of people don't realize what it takes. Like there's the prep that you need before you get on the stage.
yes,
And so your experience is a little bit is definitely I think that we should talk about it. So yeah,
yeah,
I want to hear about
okay,
yeah, let everybody know.
okay. So that first prep, like I said, I'm very competitive. So when I hired a coach, I knew that I wanted it to be um like it was never really like a bucket list for me, like it never really like a thing, oh, I just want to do it. I just want to step on stage for the fun of it. I was always like, if I do this, I'm playing to win, you know? So
Yeah.
I hired my coach accordingly and I knew that he was winning a lot of shows. He was winning trophies. He was winning pro cards and things like that. So I'm like, I'm all in. I'm just going to fully dive. So I did. I dove all in and I listened. I I would dare say that I was dang near perfect for one whole year. Like I hit my macros to a T. I did every workout. I went above and beyond on my cardio. I was doing everything I should do, right? And I was just like, I'm just gonna listen to whatever they say and do it. And that's a great quality to have, right? Like I trust in the coach, I trust in the process and all that. It's great. But I was naive and it of course took longer than I thought it would. Um, the first show date came and I wasn't ready. I wasn't lean enough. I hadn't put on the muscle mass that I needed to, so I pushed that first show back. And that was fine. Came to the second show date and we pushed that one back as well because I wasn't ready again. And when it came to the third show date that we had set, I still I still wasn't quite ready. And looking back now, I agree with that. I wasn't ready. I wasn't like bringing a competitive physique. But that messes with you mentally, right? Like that, it trips you out and it messes with you mentally to have to push your show back because you're working hard and you're hitting the macros and you're doing all the things, you're checking all the boxes and you're going, what do you mean? Like I'm doing all the things, but that's where trusting the coach comes into play a little bit too. Anyway, so I think we
And at
pushed
that point, had it been a full year of being in a contest prep, or was maybe like 9 months? Like, do you remember?
probably 9 months at this point.
Yep.
Probably 9 months. And I was at 2 hours of cardio. My macros were low. I was in a severe deficit, a pretty aggressive deficit. Um, at one point, I even went like full keto. So I was eating like trace carbs and very, very low amounts of food and doing 2 hours of cardio, which, there's a time and a place to get extreme. Like extreme goals call for extreme measures. But like, um, again, the mental part of that I was not prepared for. So we pushed the fourth show back. And this one, the reason didn't sit well with me. Like it didn't feel good to me. It was like a reason I didn't agree with. Um,
It had nothing to do with
so
your physique, right? It wasn't like you're not ready,
mm-mm,
right?
mm-mm. Nope. At this point, I was pretty much ready. And I knew it. And I had other people telling me that I was. So, this is about the time I started to follow you. And um, you were talking about biomechanics, and you were talking about, functional anatomy, and you were talking about the N1 stuff, and you were talking about metabolic health, and you were talking about reverse dieting and like different things, like your mindset around all of those things. And I also had started, like, again, as Instagram grew and evolved, the more you start to follow people and that you find people so my algorithm had completely changed at this point. I was following all new fitness people, and I was getting all of this information, all the time.
Yep.
And my mindset kind of started to shift, and I thought, well, I'm going to start looking at like 5 years from now. What do I want 5 years from now? Let's put aside what I want right now. What do I want 5 years from now, and where do I want to be in 5 years? Do I want to be healthy? Do I want to be able to say, oh, 5 years ago I won my pro card, or 5 years ago I won a show, but now I'm doing the damage control from all of that? Or do I want to be like in my prime in 5 years? You know what I mean? And being and sustaining that level of health. So my mindset kind of shifted. My goals kind of shifted. I actually stopped cold turkey with that prep, with that coach. And it wasn't like, none of it's like personal. I don't hold a grudge. It was just like a whole influx of things that happened that I was just like, this is not for me. This route is not for me. I'm going to change gears. I'm going to go a different direction. And, I, I was not prepared to stop my diet and cardio like I did. I just stopped very abruptly, and I gained quite a bit of weight back. And I knew I was in trouble. And so I called Val. I reached out to you and I said, help, help. Like, where do I go from here? I don't know what to do. I'm not equipped to handle this on my own. I need help. And you were so supportive. You were so amazing. You were like, girl, I got you. This is what I think you need to do. You put me back on the right track. And from there, I feel like you and I have both kind of grown and evolved a lot in our own mindsets and perspectives and fitness things and education and all the things. And so, yeah, I think that like from there, I think we worked together for about maybe a year. Do you feel like a year? And then I tried to prep again.
It, well, okay. So one of the things that you were talking about, how we both have grown and evolved, like my coaching philosophy and things like that, was at the time when you had hired me, I was like, okay, we're gonna like bulking phases, right? Like building phases. And so that was something that,
Yes.
as I was going through it personally, you and another client I had do like a build phase. So it's like I was doing it real time with a couple of my clients and testing out this concept of, hey, like eating in a surplus, and it's still a controlled surplus, but it's a
Yes.
surplus nonetheless. And it's one of those things where, yeah, we got strong,
Yes.
we grew,
Yes.
but then it's, as females, once you're back in the deficit, any body fat you put on, you've got to lose. And it
Yes.
makes it that much harder to lose
Yes.
body fat.
Yes.
So that's one of those things for me looking back that I'm like I wish I didn't do that to me or to you.
Yeah.
And now I'm really adamant about like lean gains, like
Yes.
staying more consistent, you know, with and being more intentional in maintenance, which it never was an intentional thing for us because
Right.
we've always been really dialed, but like, so we were intentionally eating in that surplus. So I know at some
Yes.
point we did the surplus thing.
Yes.
And I don't know if that was before we went into a prep. Like I wish I,
Yes. I think it was.
so I can't
I
remember.
think it was. And I'll tell you this though, I am really grateful for that phase because I mean I did put on I feel like a little bit of unnecessary body fat for sure. But I do feel like because of the way you taught me to train with, with learning how to actually lift biomechanics, functional anatomy, and putting pauses, tempo, rest periods, eating for, nutrient timing and partitioning and all those things. That that I would say is what changed my physique the most because I was learning how to train all the fibers of each muscle group in a way that I really do feel like I saw the most changes um, with the overall shape and composition of my body. And then when I lost that body fat, that's when you could really see like my physique had changed so much. So, and then over the course of doing that for the last, I would say, 4 years of that, training correctly and knowing those things, and also having a different perspective with food and the mindset of like lean gains and all that. That is where my physique really came to like like look really good. That's where I really started getting super happy with my results and my physique. So even though I feel like maybe it was unnecessary to put on that amount of body fat, I am so grateful for that portion of time where I learned how to train to failure. I was lifting correctly. I was pushing my body. I was, we were doing training phases. I'd never heard of like a periodization before. I was going to failure for that whole year that I started my very first prep. I was training to failure on every single thing, training to failure and doing 2 hours of cardio. And yes, it worked for a while until it didn't. And I stalled out. And then my mental state was in the dumps. And I mean, I was even like so low energy and so almost depressed that my mom had suggested that I go get help. Like she was like, I really think that you might need to go see a doctor. Like, I don't think you're okay. And then now I know that that's the effects of a severe calorie deficit for too long and then cortisol levels being spiked and all the things that causes. But so periodization changed my life. I will say that. And knowing how to train to failure and when to train to failure, and then eating to fuel the different periods of training. So yeah, that's kind of what I've learned from you over the course of the years. And now I feel like because I know all of that and I gave myself all that time and you were there to kind of guide me through that and help me through that, I feel like I'm in a very sustainable place. Like I could come in and out of a prep and I'm fine. You know what I mean? No panic mode, no reverse dieting, no like none of that like silly stuff that's going to cause these like roller coasters. I kind of am just like level and I sustain it and it feels really good. I feel good all the time, whether I'm in a prep or not. I feel great because I know how to do the training and the diet and all this stuff. So anyway,
Yeah. So, I mean, I love like such a good like recap and explanation on your experience over the last 5, 6 years and where you are now. And it's really cool. And it's something that I wish was the case for more competitors because a lot of people have this scarcity mindset. They kind of freak out and put on a ton of weight after a show. They don't have those habits and like those consistent habits build up and things like that. And
yes,
it is a testament to your dedication to the process. Like it was getting on stage for the first time for you was just this past August. So a couple months ago,
Yeah.
after this like 5, 6 years of everything that was going on. So not only the surface level stuff that we've been talking about, but you, again, behind the scenes, you're building a softball club, your kids are doing things. There's just a lot of other things happening with family and things like that. And you're still showing up for yourself every single day. And
Yes.
not perfectly, right? It's like
Yes.
consistently. So
Yes.
what do you think kept you consistent during this long build up to the stage? Do you think that there's
Um,
any things that come to mind of that?
I I think that I think I had a very solid why from the beginning. I think that I knew that um again, it wasn't just like a fleeting like bucket list thing where oh, I want to go step on a stage and like do the pageant part of it or whatever people want to call that or anything. Like I knew that I wanted to recomp my body. I wanted to be healthy long term. I wanted to change my physique. And I knew, like, as I got into it, the more I realized that, okay, this is going to take a lot longer than I thought. And I need to be in it for the long haul. So I feel like there was some point along the journey, maybe when I hired you, um, around that time that I really like sunk my feet into the fact that like, this, this is for me long term. This is for me 5, 10, 20 years down the road. And also, I'm a very fly by the seat of my pants type of person. I am very like naturally undisciplined. Like I'm like flighty, I'm kind of flaky. I like bounce from thing to thing. I'm kind of like I'm a very free spirit. I'm like a hippie at heart. Like I could literally live in a camper. As long as I had my family, I could just live in a camper and go wherever. Like I'm kind of that way. And I knew that like I needed to build better habits. I needed to become a more disciplined person. I needed to become a more uh, well-rounded human being. So it was never just physical for me. It was all these things. It was a mental thing. It was an emotional thing. I knew that the structure and the discipline would help me become a better leader, a better mom, a better coach, a better friend, a better everything. Like I just knew that this was the thing that was going to help me become more whole as a person. And so I think that got very deep seated into me for about 5 years ago. And I promised myself then, you will step on stage. Don't know when, don't know how, but you're going to step on stage and you're going to keep that promise to yourself because that is important. And so, um, and then also when you have kids and they get older and they're doing all these things and they're setting goals and they're competing in their own sports and you want to be the example of like you set a goal, you go after it and you complete it, right? And so that was a big deal for me also. So when I contacted you this last time for a prep and I said, Val, this is my year. I'm going to compete. Will you prep me? And you were like, hell yes, let's do it.
Yeah.
And so I knew then, I'm like, this is my year. It's going to happen. And I think that all of that together was kind of a, the thing that kept me going and kept me sustainable. And also, again, the physical outlet of just training and being able to have that time at the gym for me and put that time into my physical self. I do that because I enjoy it. It's not because I want to step on stage and prove to everybody that I'm a bodybuilder or anything like that. Like that it is something I truly, truly enjoy and I love to do. And so that part, the physical part was easy for me. Going to the gym is the easy part. The nutrition part of it and being consistent with that. Um, I think when I started to see results that very first prep, I realized that food is like a business transaction. Like you can still be a foodie, but food is a business transaction between you and your goals, right? And so I realized what I put in my body matters, and I want to teach my kids that that's the case too, and I want to build a healthy, not just a healthy me, but a healthy family. And food is not just oh my gosh, I can't eat that, or oh, I get to eat this big old cake, or like, oh, I can't do that, or I can't do. I don't have a restrictive mindset at all. So I think I also learned that the from you, I guess, and your mindset and your perspective and the people that mentor you, that it's not an all or nothing mindset, and you need to approach macros like not in extremes, but more sustainable and more like you have a more logical mindset around it, I guess, and not so like black and white. So food to me is fun. It can be fun and it can be enjoyable, and we do it socially sometimes, but most of the time it's a business transaction. So I kind of look at food that way now. And that's helped me be sustainable, I think, too. It's kind of, and sometimes I just have to tell myself, shut up, like quit being emotional about it. It's just more chicken. Eat the chicken, eat the broccoli. It's fine. Shut up. You get cake later. Cake will still be there later, you know?
It's
Like,
it's
so,
always going to be there. It's
yes,
very true.
exactly. They're never going to cancel cake, right? Like they're never going to cancel cookies. Like they're going to be there when you're done. Like you can have one then. You don't need to have 10. You can just have one,
Yes,
and that's fine. So,
it's so true. Oh my gosh, it's so good.
so I think all of that together is kind of like what's helped me be sustainable and just like stay on track. And again, I consistency over perfection, and I've had that mindset for a long time. And yeah, so
Yeah, I
yeah,
love that. That it's like nothing really changes when you move into contest prep or fat loss versus when you're just living life. It's
yeah,
just a little bit more dialed and adherent because you've got an end, like a timeline that you're trying to work toward. So,
yes,
now I want to switch gears a little bit
okay,
and move into more of the competing stuff. So, because
awesome.
you had like years of, going to shows and looking, watching the recaps and seeing the pictures, there definitely was probably like some preconceived ideas of what it would be like, but I want to hear from you. So, before stepping on stage for the first time, what did you imagine the experience would be like, and was it any different from what you expected?
Hmm. I think I think that if I would have stepped on stage 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I would maybe it would be completely different. But because I waited and I watched so many shows, and I actually went to a few shows. I've watched you for a long time. I watched Courtney compete. I watched different friends and acquaintances compete, and I think I saw enough. Instagram stories and Snapchat and Facebook and TikToks and like all these things that I feel like I had a pretty good idea of what it was going to be like,
Uh-huh.
but none of that really prepares you for the adrenaline of it on like show day. And I knew I was going to get a little bit nervous, like because I've played enough sports and been on a stage in front of people before, so I knew that I was like going to have some nerves. And I didn't I feel like you kind of go in with the mindset of like being like competitive and kind of cutthroat, but then you get there and everybody's so nice and everybody's just like they look so good and you're just like, oh my gosh, you look amazing, and they're like, you too, and then you're like, okay, cool, we're like friends, but we're competing, but we're besties. And so I think that I was I guess I guess the camaraderie was much better than I thought it was going to be, and the it was a much more relaxed fight. I kind of thought it was going to be very like structured and rigid, and the people backstage would kind of be like yelling at you where to go or like not telling you where to go, and you were going to be stressed about how like what time you were going to step on stage and where you were going to be. And like when I got there, it was all like mapped out. They were just like, yeah, bikini goes on at this time, fit model goes on at this time, hair and makeup's at this time, tan, it all, they have it figured out. They have it all in flow. You don't really have to stress about any of that. I mean, you have to like get your hair done and your makeup done, and you have to get the tan, and you have to be prepared to go on stage when but also when you get there, it kind of all just happens. And before you know it, you're like up on stage in front of the judges and you're walking like a baby deer. You know what I mean? Like it's like it all kind of happens like super fast and super flowy. And then so yeah, I guess I kind of didn't I think I was more stressed than I needed to be, if that makes sense. Like I put I put a little bit more stress on myself than was needed.
Yeah. And
But
it's those nerves that you get right before you step on stage. It's kind of it's like something where people are like, "Oh, I wish I didn't feel those nerves," but at the same time it's like, and I tell everybody this all the time, it's a good thing because it means
yes,
it really does mean that you care. Like you're nervous because you put all this work, all this effort, this time, sacrifice away from family and different things to get to this moment in time, right? And so
yes,
trying to embrace those nerves and look at it as a positive thing, it can be hard,
yes.
but yeah, those like little jitters you get right before you walk on the stage.
Yes. And I'm, again, like I'm a competitive person, so I know when those nerves hit, like it's game time, baby. Like
Yeah.
it's go time. And so I have always felt like when I'm playing basketball or softball or whatever, and it's like my turn up to bat, you're the only one standing in that batter's box, right? And so they're all eyes are on you. They're watching you. And that adrenaline is what puts you into that mode of like I've put all this work in, now it's time to show it. Like so for me that's kind of how I look at it. The nerves are here because this is me out getting out of my comfort zone and putting all my work to fruition. And so it's I don't know, nerves are good. For I like those nerves. I actually maybe it's just my background in athletics, but I actually thrive in that. I actually thrive under pressure. So, and some people don't, and it's got to be a hard feeling. I don't know. I just,
You're like,
I'm,
I'm speechless. I don't know what else to say.
I'm just like, yeah, I kind of thrive under pressure. So for me, those are really good feelings, and I live for that. I live for that adrenaline of that moment. So, yeah,
Yeah, the stage
um,
is something special, that's for sure. And that's where, for some people it's like, "Oh, I want to do a fat loss phase, but I don't necessarily want it to end being on the stage." And it's like, yeah, that's totally fine. The stage is
yes,
for everybody. Like, and it's expensive and time consuming, and
oh yeah,
so, but there's also a very special niche of people out there that like all of that, and we're a little bit
yes.
crazy, but we
Yes. Oh, for sure. And the amount of times I've been called like crazy, or like even my friends are like, I don't know how or why you do that. You're crazy. I could never. And I'm like, the thing is that you could, but it isn't for everyone. So like, and I feel like I'm a testament to that. Like if I can do it, anyone can do it because I literally, live this crazy lifestyle and I'm like the most unstructured hippie person of all time. And if I can do a bodybuilding prep, pretty much anyone can. You just have to be committed and you just have to know what's coming and be prepared for it. But yeah, it's definitely like, and I think that I think that because I didn't step on stage for so long, I think it was easier for me not to, if that makes sense. So like I felt like, and I remember my first coach, like there was a lot of positives and negatives that came from that. But one of the things he said to me was, time is always the best. Like if the more time, the better, really. And so I knew that from the beginning. That was a common consensus of everybody that talked to me about competing. The more time you can give yourself to step on stage, the better. And so I don't know if stepping on stage early would have ever I mean we'll never know because I never did it, but I think the longer I went not stepping on stage, the easier it was for me to go and not compete until I was like, okay, I need to step on stage to see if I even like love it, to see if it's even going to be something that I want to pursue in the future. And so when I did do it, I was like, okay, yep, I love it. Unfortunately, I love it. So
That
that's so now I just like, that's what kind of keeps me going. But before I could have done that, I think I probably could have done it for another like 3 years, probably without being like, yeah, I never needed to step on stage. I just wanted to. So
yeah.
if that makes sense at all, I don't know.
Yes, well, and so let's talk about it. That your debut, your first time on the stage ever was in August of this year, and you came in the fit model division, which was just introduced at the beginning of this year, and you won the overall title. you came in and you won the overall title. So how did that moment feel after years of preparation?
Yeah. Like, so fulfilling. I can't even explain it. Like, had I not had my hair and makeup done, I would have just been like bawling, you know, I would have just been like bawling my eyes out. But I was like, I don't want to mess up my makeup. I have this TikTok I want to finish. No. Um, but yeah. And then like coming out of I had my crown and my trophy, and I walked down the thing, and I'm coming from backstage out to the lobby to meet you and Jake. And it was just like, just seeing you in that moment and seeing Jake in that moment was so, so fulfilling. Like, I have no words. I was like speechless. I was just like, it felt like my time. It felt right. Everything fell into place. And to just have the universe be like, yep, here you go. Like, it was just like, I don't know. The world just went black, and I was just like, I don't even know how to be right now. But yeah, it felt so good. And like I said, I felt like when I called you the first time to say, will you prep me? I knew then that it was game over. Like, I was like, this is happening. Whether, I don't care who's there, I don't care who's in the way. Like, I'm doing this for me, and I'm going to do my ultimate best. And I did go in with the mindset of like, whatever happens, happens, but I'm going to win. And I did visualize myself in the middle of that stage, taking that trophy and accepting that crown. And then it happened, and I was just like, part of me was kind of like, I knew it, but the other parts of me was like, is this real? Like, is this happening? So it's kind of a mixture of emotions.
Years and years. And you bring up a
Yeah.
good point, visualization. I think this is something that is
Yeah.
huge that competitors need to do more of, because our brains don't know reality from perceived reality. And so if we can insert ourselves into a
Yes.
situation like being on the stage and visualize that, we've seen, like with basketball players, they do visualization practices, things like that. But I
Yep.
see such positive things coming from it as a competitor as well. And so, yeah,
Yes.
bringing up the
Yes. Thoughts are things. I am such a believer in thoughts are things, and, energy and science, like it all meshes kind of together, and thoughts are things. And I believe in visualization. I believe in, you know, imagining something that you want as you already having it, like you already possess it. And you just have to feel all the feelings of that thing being yours and send that out there. And the universe is bound by design and by law to bring that to you, right? And the how is none of your business. And I kind of talk about this like on my stories and stuff like that. But
yes, yes, too.
the how is none of your business. You visualize it like you already have it, and you have good intentions and gratitude, and the universe is bound to send that to you. So I'm a huge believer in visualization. Yeah.
I love that. So we did the show in August. You crushed it. And then a few weeks later went to the North American Championships, which is a pro qualifying show in Pittsburgh, because the judge feedback at the overall, with when you win the overall, was like, no more muscle, like you got just enough muscle. Maybe bring in a little bit more definition in the glutes.
Yep.
Don't lose the fullness in the delts. And so what transpired then going to Pittsburgh? Any
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. So when he said that, you're at the top end of the muscle, like no more muscularity, um, maybe a little more conditioning in the glutes. Um, sorry.
Bless you.
And he said, be careful leaning out the glutes because we don't want to see any striations in the delts, right? Like, be careful of that. So we knew that kind of going in, that was going to be the game we were going to have to play, is bringing conditioning in the glutes without leaning out my upper body and being too vascular and muscular up top. And so, and then he also said I looked very muscular when I walked on stage. So we knew my walk needed to be a little different, right? So he said it was muscular when you walked on, and then when you hit your posing, it wasn't as bad. It softened up a little bit. And it was like fit model to a T. This is what we want to see, the shape, the everything, like it's golden. But yeah, so that was the feedback. And so we knew going into Pittsburgh that I needed to bring a little more conditioning in the glutes, which I thought we did. I thought we did what we needed to do there and fix the walk a little bit. I'm going to tweak that more because we realized when I get on stage, I just like go to town and I need to slow it down a little bit and be a little softer. But yeah, so then we get to Pittsburgh. I felt so confident. Backstage, I was confident. Um, on stage, so confident, like got up there, felt like I nailed it, did my routine, held my poses. My hair and makeup was on point. I felt like it was better than Salt Lake. Like I felt like everything came together and was great. And then uh, got moved straight to the edge. So I was like, what the? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And immediately I was like, okay, compared to the people that they're rewarding and keeping in the center, which means that who that's fitting what, the criteria of the division better is who they keep in the center. I'm like,
yes.
you have, like, you're too muscular, your delts are too big, like something's going on. I also was saying, like, I think maybe your core just looks too conditioned compared to the other girls that they're keeping in the center. And so we kind of had
Yeah.
these ideas as you went into finals that evening and then ended up talking to the head judge. So what did the head judge at North American Championships say? What was his?
Yeah. It's funny that you mentioned like what was going through your head when I was on stage, that prejudging and all the things, because when I walked off stage, I was ready to punch a wall. Like I was so, again, that competitive nature comes out in me and I was like, what in the heck? So, obviously you want to be center stage in bodybuilding. That's the winner. And then for, first, second, third, whatever. So when I got to the edge and I was in the edge of every one, I was like, what in the heck? I'm like, does my makeup look stupid? Do I look ugly on stage? Like what? I'm like, did my back end, like did my back pose look horrible? Like what is going on? And so I walked back there and just had to like take a minute because kind of what your placing is. And I got back there and one of our friends, Corinne, was back there and she's coaching other competitors and stuff. And I just like had my head down and was like, what in the world? She's like, don't overthink it. She's like, don't overthink it. You're fine. You look amazing. Like think of all the things that you wanted to do. You accomplished them. You look great. You did the things that you were asked to do. Like if that's, then be solid in that. She kind of talked me off the ledge or whatever. And then I came out to the lobby and talked to you and you're like, I think you're too muscular. Like bottom line, I think you just came in a little too muscular and maybe a little too lean. Your core is really conditioned, so maybe too much. And then I was like, okay, I can calm down because I'm like, if that is the critique, then I'm fine with it because I look too muscular. Okay, isn't that the point? Like, so then we waited. Obviously, we went for a little walk and we had good conversations and everything. And then I was fine. So I knew kind of what we were about to hear, but I wasn't quite sure. So I stepped on stage for finals. Again, the placing is what we thought it was, like toward the end. I get the feedback from the judge and he like immediately when I walked, so there's like a line of people, you're waiting to see him to get his feedback. And I'm standing back and I'm just kind of like watching how he's interacting with the other girls, and I can tell he's like to the point, but he's like playful and whatever. And so I'm like, right when I got up to him, I was like, you hated me today. And I'm so sad. And he was like, and he just shook his head. He's like, you're too muscular, bro. Like, he's like, you have too much muscle. And I was like, but really? Like, really? And he was like, absolutely 100%. He said, as soon as you walked on stage and hit that front pose, I was like, bikini. And he's like, you should be in the bikini division. He's like, you do not even belong here. And I was like, I feel differently. he was like, he was like, hit your front pose, hit your bikini front pose. And so I did. And he was like, there it is. He's like, you should be in bikini. And I was like, freak. Okay. So then I just kind of like walked off and was like, then I found you and told you what he said. And you were like, I knew that's what he was doing. Like, I knew it was too muscular. Like yeah. So that's kind of how that all went down.
Yeah, and so how we're taking that feedback, like me coaching you into your next, because we're going to do another pro qualifier,
Yes.
announcement. Abby is going to do nationals in December.
Yes.
And so, and we're going to
So excited.
fit model. And here's the thing. We absolutely respect judge feedback. Like we want
Absolutely.
judge feedback. And we realize that judges can give conflicting feedback. Like we got once, what, the first judge was like, "Hey, come in a little bit leaner in the glutes." And so we
Yeah.
brought conditioning in by a couple pounds for Pittsburgh for the pro qualifying show. And then that judge was like, "You had too much conditioning, essentially, like too much muscle. You need to be bikini." And so as the coach and as the athlete, like it's our job to figure out, okay, are we going to just continue to chase judge feedback, or are we going to see what we can do that makes the most sense based on like what you want to do, what I believe that you can do? And so if we were to do bikini, we would need to build the glutes, and that could be a couple year process with just the way that the divisions are changing. In my opinion, I think now that the fit model division has been introduced, I think that that gives way for a lot more conditioning, a lot more hardness in bikini.
Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah.
that's what I'm seeing in the last few months, as well. And which, it's not a bad thing, it's just the evolution of the sport and the different divisions.
Yes.
And so I was like, you ultimately, Abby, you get to decide. This is your body, this is your life. And but here's what I'm thinking is we stick in fit model, and we
Yeah.
maybe bring you in a little bit softer, which just means like a pound or two heavier,
Yeah.
and play with your posing, because a lot can be it. I mean, when you're on the stage, it is all about illusion, and you're
Mhm.
posing to your strengths, or you're posing to hide different things, right? And so if we
Yes.
can play with your posing a little bit to make a softer look, and even your walk on the stage, which is the first thing the judges see, like work on a little
Yeah.
bit more flow, and daintiness is the word that I keep
Yes.
using, right?
Femininity. More femininity. The jock needs to be more feminine. Imagine that.
You need to take the softballer out of
Yeah.
the fit model show.
You got to bring the alter ego out when you put the heels on. Leave the cleats at home, girl. Put the heels on and become a woman now.
Yeah, so it's like we're
Yeah.
gonna play around with some of that, and see what that looks like moving into the show in December. Like,
Yeah.
what are you thinking about what I just said? Like with the
Yeah. And I'm super excited about that. So I was a little bit like, ugh, like it kind of felt a little overwhelming and like daunting because I'm like, well, I've spent years putting on this muscle and I'm proud of my physique and I love my physique and I love, I love delts and I love seeing a couple veins here and there and I love seeing striations and some, I love this physique and I didn't want to lose muscle, and so when he's telling me like I have too much muscle or I'm too conditioned, like I that kind of sucked at first because I was like, well, I feel like then I need to be like a smaller, softer version of me, and I don't know that that's ultimately like what I want. And then, but bikini, I also know that that is going to be a huge push for me. Like it's going to be very hard for me to get that intense. That the bikini level has leveled up so much just in the last 5 years because ultimately I started in bikini, right? And then um, that was kind of the goal for me was to compete in the bikini division. And I know that it's evolved so much that to get to that level of like being competitive and being a top placer in a show is going to be very um, was going to take a lot of sacrifice, a ton of commitment, and even like extra things that a lot of like normal people don't know about that you have to like implement and do for that bikini division. And I knew I was just like, wow, that's going to be hard for me. Also with my scoliosis, I know it's hard for me to build my glutes and it's hard for me to do the bikini posing with my back being the way that it is. And it's just like, yes, you have to do so much twist and you have to hold it and you have to like even the back pose is really difficult for me to sit in that back pose and hold that back pose. I actually am in quite a bit of pain when I do it. Most people don't know that because I don't like I'm not going to go around telling everybody that, but like it's hard. Bikini is harder And so when he said that to me, I was like, wow, okay, I'm either going to have to like get softer and smaller and lose muscle, or I'm going to have to get a bunch of muscle. And that's going to take a year, maybe two to do that. And so, but I think you're absolutely right. Like, so once I decided that, like, no, bikini's not for me. It's never really felt like for me. It's always felt like a square peg in a round hole. It's kind of always felt a little bit off to me. And then when Fit Model came, all the cards just fell into place. And like to the point where I couldn't deny it, right? Like it was just like, okay, Fit Model's for me. And I love it. And when I hit that first Fit Model pose and you were like, girl, that was easy. Like you did that like it was natural and it looks natural on you. It fits your shape. All the things, it just kind of like all fit and fell into place for me. And I was like, this is for me. So then when I ultimately made this decision to stay in Fit Model and go to Dallas for the championships or whatever, or the um, nationals, I was like, I can't deny all of what led me here. You know what I mean? All the things that led up to here and put me in Fit Model. I can't deny how all of that felt. Like I was just finally in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing that was for me, for my body, for my lifestyle. So yeah, I'm super excited to do the Fit Model division. And I'm super excited about what you said about like, I think that it's literally just going to be about some posing changes, and maybe we come in a pound or two heavier and we just look a little bit softer. Maybe we don't pump up as much before stage.
Yes.
And maybe we chill with the carbs and protein a little bit more leading into the show so you don't look so full and hard. And then if we can soften up the posing, the walk, I think that we're there. And we've made some adjustments already with my front pose. We've made some adjustments with my back pose. So yeah, I'm so stoked about it. I think that that's like, it feels right. Again, it just feels like the right move. So I'm really excited about it.
I'm excited too. And I think that next year, once they start having the pro shows and with the bikini competitors that are going to move into Fit Model, I still think that it's such an evolving division that we don't really know. We have the standard as Ashley Kaltwasser from like 2015, 2016.
Yes.
When she was, that was bikini then, but that bikini then is essentially what Fit Model is now. And so I think that there's
Yeah.
still an evolution where there is going to be a little bit more musculature to the division. It's
Yes.
so I have a lot of excitement and optimism for this next
Yeah.
year with the changes that we're playing around with and that you're working on. So
Yeah. And for me, coming in a pound or two heavier, honestly, that much difference gives me quite a bit of, I guess I could say relaxation around food. I'm eating, in maintenance right now, pretty much.
yeah, you're at
And
225 carbs, right?
yeah,
For people
yeah,
that are listening, like this is how much food she's eating right now because
yeah.
you need your
Like I'm eating food and
so,
yeah, like I ate the same dinner as my kids last night. Like sometimes, when you're in prep, you have to eat your own foods and you don't want to make your kids eat those food. But like I'm eating dinners with my family and I'm like enjoying life right now. And I'm just like at maintenance and my body's responding so well. And so for me, I'm like, if this is what it is, like I'm in, count me in, man. I can do this.
right.
So
No, even me as a bikini competitor, I'm like, I don't know, maybe Fit Model is in the cards for me, and I won't be mad about it if that's the case.
yeah,
Yeah, it's really cool
yeah.
to see.
Yeah. And I feel like, I don't know, I'm like just stoked about the Fit Model division in general because I do feel like it gives so many more women an opportunity and a route to be able to step on stage and see if they like competing. If it's going to grow, I just feel like it's going to grow the sport. I just don't see there's, some negativity around it here and there a little bit, but I'm like, I just don't get it because I'm like, the Fit Model division could be great for so many people.
Yep.
And it's just another division to add and more opportunity. And yeah, so I'm just like, it's stoked for the division in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we have just a few more minutes left. I don't want to keep you, but I have two more questions I want to.
Okay. We'll be quick.
So the first is, what advice would you give to someone who's prepping for their very first show?
Ooh.
I know, right? Like I should have asked before we started. So
yeah, that's okay. And I'll make it quick because it really is. I feel like I could talk for days about it, but at the very basis of it, it's like very simple. Give yourself grace, give yourself time, and trust the process. Hire a good coach that really has your best interest in mind, and then trust the process and be and be patient. It's going to take a little bit longer than you think it will, but the more time that you give yourself, the better. And be in it for the long haul. Like, and don't just look at from now to the stage. Look at from now to 5 years from now, and the stage is in there somewhere, and you compete and whatever. But be ready and prepared mentally for that long haul goal of like competing and what it entails after.
love that. And that one thing that we didn't get to hit on is the whole like non-reverse reverse diet, which
Oh
is
yes.
I like because I've made multiple posts about like you over the last several years about how like I am anti-reverse diet, and you alluded to it earlier in this episode as well of like due to periodization and taking diet breaks, like we just move to perceived maintenance. So that's a huge thing too of not just looking at, like you were saying with the advice, like not just looking at the short-term goal of the prep and the actual show date,
Yes.
but beyond that, what that looks like as well.
Yes. Yes. And one thing I will add to that too is like you actually just posted about it yesterday. The stage look is so fun, but it's not forever. It's very temporary. So when you go into a competition prep, remember that like you only look that lean for a certain amount of time, and then you have to remember that long-term health is the ultimate goal, and sometimes that means putting on a little bit of body fat, and not like unnecessary body fat, but be okay with yourself in all the stages, and remember that long-term health is ultimately the goal. And when you go to step on stage, you might have to get extreme for a minute for the extreme look, but try not to get too attached to that look, because when you come back out of that naturally to get healthy and make sure your hormones are in a good place and all the things, you might put on a little bit of body fat, and that's okay.
Yes.
That's okay.
So well said. So well
Yeah.
said. All right. So last question, but before I ask you the question, I just want to remind everybody listening, my channel is new and I want all of you all to subscribe if you're enjoying it. Add any comments or questions for either me or Abby so that we can answer them for you. And, you know, if you want Abby back on, like, let me know. I want to get some interaction with everybody listening. So please subscribe.
Yes. Love that. Love that.
And so, last question here. If you could go back and give your pre-comp self one piece of advice, what would it be? It's more advice
Me,
questions.
that is loaded. let, let me think. Oh man. Pre-comp advice. Don't wear the wig, bro. Don't wear the wig. That's so funny. I'll have to post about it or something because it was hilarious. And I guess I guess I guess if we're being serious, like on a serious note, um
Like that.
I would just tell myself like it's coming, it's coming. Just be patient. Just trust yourself, trust the process. Again, kind of the same advice I gave to somebody that is starting a prep. Just trust yourself, trust the process. You'll get there, and the how is none of your business. Just visualize it and stay the course, and you'll be there. And yeah, and be ready to like evolve, because there's a lot of things that change. Like I went through so much, like you said, behind the scenes. I changed as a human being so much through the process that like I don't know. I'm just so grateful for every part of it. But yeah, if you knew me, like when I first started my first prep, I actually cut my hair into like a pixie cut.
It was so
And yeah, so short. And I didn't realize that, like, on stage, that's not what they want. The judges want like long, flowy, feminine hair. They want femininely fit. And Courtney, I remember Courtney being like, "Bro, did you ask coach if you should do that or not?" And I was like, "No, was I supposed to?" And she was like, "Yeah, because that is not going to be the look they're going for." So then I got this wig. I was trying to wear this wig and it was horrible. Oh my gosh. And I make fun of my kids, roast me all the time. They're like, "That was ridiculous." But anyway, so funny.
that. Well, Abby, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy, busy day
Yes.
to do this. This was so much fun. And I think it's going to be just really enlightening and eye-opening for people listening who are wondering about competing, and also to give them a
Yeah.
realistic time frame. Uh,
Yeah.
I mean,
I hope so.
only 5 years, but
Yes.
But a lot
Yes.
of people are like, they see it and they're like, oh, I want to do this and I want to be on the stage in 20 weeks. And it's like, well, if you don't have those habits and things in place, it's probably, or
Yes.
even like a decent amount of muscle, unless it's just a bucket list thing, like
Yes.
then,
Yes. And that's fine too. And it's like, it's everyone, like you said, everyone's journey is so different. I just hope that this gives people some insight to like the fact that it is so different for everybody. And yeah, it doesn't have to take you 5 years, like you said, but it, give yourself some time and put on the muscle that you need to. And if winning is a goal of yours, then you need time. So
yeah, love that. Well, we're going to finish
I
there.
hope it was helpful.
Yes, yes, it was. Thank you again. And we out. We'll talk to you guys
Okay.
later.
Bye.
Bye.